Your parents screwed you up. I know that's harsh, but if you're watching this video, you probably already suspect it's true. The question isn't whether your childhood was perfect. Nobody's was. The question is whether your parents were so toxic that they damaged your ability to become who you meant to be. Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant psychologists who ever lived, spent decades studying how our early relationships shape our entire lives. And what he discovered will make you question everything you thought you knew about good enough parenting. I'm going to give you 3 brutal signs that your parents were toxic, based on Jung's psychological insights. This isn't about blame or victimhood. It's about recognition and liberation. They projected their shadow onto you. Jung believed every person has a shadow. The parts of themselves they refuse to acknowledge or accept. Healthy parents do the inner work to recognize their own darkness. Toxic parents, they dump it all on their kids. Here's what this looks like in real life if your parent was a people pleaser who never stood up for themselves. They probably called you selfish or difficult every time you had needs or boundaries. If your parent was secretly competitive and insecure, they probably sabotaged your achievements or made you feel guilty for succeeding. The brutal truth: your parent saw their own repressed qualities in you and punished you for it. They couldn't handle their own shadow, so they made it your problem. Jung called this psychological infection. When a parent hasn't integrated their shadow, they unconsciously force their child to carry it. You become the bad one, the problem child, the one who embodies everything your parent hates about themselves. The damage this causes is profound. You grow up thinking there's something fundamentally wrong with you, when really you were just carrying your parents' unprocessed psychological garbage. They prevented your individuation process. Jung's most important concept was individuation, the lifelong process of becoming your authentic self. It's literally the purpose of human existence, according to Jung. And toxic parents, they sabotage this process from day one. Healthy parents support their child's natural development into a unique individual. They encourage exploration, tolerate differences, and celebrate their child's emerging personality, even when it's nothing like their own. Toxic parents do the opposite. They need you to be an extension of themselves, not a separate person. They punish authenticity and reward conformity to their expectations. Did your parents freak out when you showed interest in something they didn't understand? Did they mock your dreams, dismiss your feelings, or make you feel ashamed of who you naturally were? Did they use guilt, manipulation, or emotional withdrawal whenever you tried to be different from what they wanted? If yes, they were actively preventing your individuation. They were more invested in having a child who made them look good or feel comfortable than in raising a healthy, autonomous human being. The most toxic thing a parent can do is treat their child like an object for their own psychological needs rather than a separate person with their own destiny to fulfill. They created an unhealthy family complex. Jung discovered that families create psychological complexes, unconscious patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that get passed down through generations. Healthy families create complexes that support growth and resilience. Toxic families create complexes that trap everyone in dysfunction. In toxic family systems, there are unspoken rules that keep everyone sick, Don't talk about problems. Pretend everything is fine. Don't have needs. Focus on taking care of others. Don't trust your own perceptions. Accept our version of reality. Don't leave the system. Loyalty means staying trapped. These complexes are incredibly powerful because they operate below conscious awareness. You don't realize you're following these rules. You just feel anxious, guilty, or wrong whenever you try to break them. Jung understood that these family complexes can control your entire life if you don't make them conscious. You'll find yourself recreating the same dysfunctional patterns in your relationships. Your career and your relationship with yourself, the most insidious part. Toxic family complexes convince you that the dysfunction is normal. You defend behaviors that harmed you. You make excuses for people who damaged you. You feel guilty for wanting something healthier. Here's what nobody wants to tell you. Recognizing toxic parents is terrifying because it means accepting that the people who were supposed to love you unconditionally actually harmed you. It means acknowledging that your foundation was built on dysfunction. But Jung believed this recognition is essential for psychological health. He called it making the unconscious conscious. Until you see clearly what happened to you, you'll keep repeating the same patterns. Your toxic parents probably weren't evil. They were likely damaged people who passed on their own unhealed trauma. They probably did the best they could with the tools they had. But their limitations became your limitations until you consciously choose to break the cycle. Jung's work offers hope. Individuation doesn't stop in childhood. It's a lifelong process. You can still become who you're meant to be, but it requires courage to face the truth about your upbringing and commitment to doing the inner work your parents couldn't do. This means developing a conscious relationship with your shadow instead of projecting it onto others. Learning to trust your own perceptions and feelings instead of defaulting to others' versions of reality. Setting boundaries with toxic family members, even if they make you feel guilty. Seeking therapy or doing inner work to break generational patterns. Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But he also said it's the most liberating thing you can do. If you recognized your parents in these signs, I'm not going to tell you it's okay, or that you should forgive them. What I am going to tell you is this: their toxicity doesn't have to define your life. Jung believed every person has the capacity for individuation, for becoming whole, authentic, and free. Your toxic parents may have delayed this process, but they can't stop it unless you let them. The question is, are you ready to stop carrying their psychological garbage and start living your own life? If this resonated with you, subscribe for more content on breaking generational patterns and becoming psychologically free. And remember, awareness is the first step toward liberation.